Lane. I am here with wonderful JRX TV. How are you this week?
I'm okay. It's been a long week. It's been ups and downs, but finishing on a high, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely finishing on a high. We shall see if we're finishing on a high this week with these couples, what's been going on. But y'all, as you come in, please hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Let us know your thoughts if you're on the replay. What are your thoughts about these couples? Because there's a lot tonight that the experts did not cover, and I'm upset with them. I'm upset with them because they did not cover a whole host of things, okay? They did not cover a whole host of things, and I'm going to cover it. We're going to cover it today, okay? So as always, we're going to follow the theme of the experts at the commitment ceremony. We're going to follow how they did it, okay? Now they started, and welcome on into everyone coming on in. They started with Stephanie and Tyson. Okay. Now, how we're going to do this, and Stephanie and Tyson, here they are. Stephanie and Tyson are a new couple. Okay. Our new couple. Let's take I have a few photos from their wedding day. Okay. Here's a couple of photos of their wedding day. Looking very, very nice, very lovely. He looks dapper and dashing in his suit. And that's as much positive as I can give him. Okay. Because as soon as he saw her coming down the aisle, he said, she looks a little bit awoke. And I don't want no woke woman. I don't want no argumentative. I don't want any masculine energy. And she looks like she's given that. But there's something very interesting. Something very interesting that was said at their wedding. Alyssa said it. There are no ladies on his side of the aisle.
Mhm.
I found that, wow. There are no ladies in your life, no auntie, friend, sister, cousin, somebody. So it tells me how very male dominated his life is. And we didn't hear about his mother. I don't know about his mother. So I really wanted to know a lot more about Tyson and where's there possibly a soft side to Tyson. But Tyson don't want woke. He figures she's masculine energy. Anytime she talks against him or push back, that's too much. What were your thoughts about Stephanie and Tyson? Y'all, the new couples do not make a decision. They are in it. And I think it's because Tyson is the reason why they say there's no decision your first week. What do you think, JR?
Yeah, it was a very big observation that there were no women on his side. And obviously, as soon as he opened his mouth, you could also hear why. He seems like he's been in an echo chamber where he's been watching a lot of red pill rhetoric. He's following a lot of tropes. It seems like he has some major hang-ups about the type of relationship that he's looking for. And he says he's very traditional in terms of gender roles. But I actually think he is... I don't think he wants a woman that even, gives him any feedback whatsoever. I think he just wants to say whatever he wants and she's completely a doormat for him. And, that's not going to happen in this day and age, bro. And if he calls that woke, I think that's what he means. It's not going to happen for him. She comes across as very, very career driven, as she said, very articulate, well presented. And when he was asked what he was actually looking for, she seemed to tick a lot of those boxes. But he still spews a lot of things that are counterproductive to what, and almost the opposite to what he says he's looking for.
Right, because let's look over, because this is our first introduction to him. Tyson, y'all, was married before. He said he was married, around the age of 23 or before the age of 23. They were married, he said, in person for 30 days, but they knew each other for a couple of years. Now, this young lady was from Utah. That's what we're being told. She was from Utah, and that's where they were. So I don't know about how his thought process is for he keeps also using that submissive woman words. And I'm glad that the experts ask him, well, what does that mean? Because it seems like you just want someone to lay down, give you those 5 babies, stay at home, and just listen and do as they're told. He said that's not what he's looking for, but at the wedding, that's what he was saying.
Hmm.
He was constantly saying, just when she said, well, are you going to be a house husband to help with these kids? He's like, you might as well put me in a skirt.
Yeah. He took that to be very emasculating, that particular comment, as we find out later on the commitment couch. He feels like when she challenges or addresses some of the things he says, he finds that as confrontational, aggressive, and too masculine. So he doesn't want to be questioned about his views. But yeah, he said he wants 5 children, and the insinuation was she was going to stay at home and rear those children while he goes out to work. And then, so when she made the comment about, oh, are you going to wear are you going to be a house husband? Like, he kind of took offense to that, as if to say, what, me? Nah, man, you're the one that wears the skirt. And she got there quickly and said, yeah, like, indicating that he's just not progressive. He's got a very caveman like mentality when it comes to that, because it's going to be both of you that jointly pull your weight to raise a family, and it seems like his idea of pulling his weight is, I'm going to be out working, you're going to be inside with those kids.
The experts also said that, he said, I don't like how she speaks to me, how she, masculine, argumentative energy. And they're like, well, have you thought about how you speak to her? And that was a shock. He was shocked. Like, no, I haven't. Then they say, you're acting like you're superior to her. And he was shocked. And he's acting and speaking like, you are a woman, you are beneath me. And he's not getting that. And they're like, well, are you going to be curious? He's like, well, I just want to leave this experiment. I don't want to be here.
After 1 week. So basically, because of that week where his views have been challenged, he just like, nope, this ain't for me. I'm out. I don't even want to be here no more. And you can see, when he first got amongst the group, immediately they honed in on the rhetoric that he was espousing. And that made him very uncomfortable to be challenged by everybody. So it's not just his wife that's challenging him. It's also the group, because they're trying to say, listen, man, with those views, you're not going to last more than 5 seconds anyway. You need to really fix up. And some of the grooms are actually distancing themselves from him immediately after meeting him, because they just feel like, nah, man, this dude, he doesn't get it.
Right. And the experts say, hey, we gave you 90% of what you wanted. She is driven, ambitious. She does have the same views, polarizing views that you have on society and woke culture. Yet you still have an issue with her. Come on. I mean, take your head out, from beneath the sands. But again, now I'm not surprised at him only being married in person for 30 days. Get out my head, Sam.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised either. He probably got challenged at some point after the wedding and decided to initiate divorce proceedings straight away. And it took 30 days for the paperwork to go through, But yeah, so he looks very uncomfortable with the fact that, she doesn't come at him in a hostile way, but she wants him to elaborate and explain his perspectives. And if she sees something differently, then she's allowed to vocalize it. And he doesn't comprehend how a relationship even works. So yeah, he's not cut out for this show. Simple.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're going to throw them right into the intimacy challenge, right away.
I hope not.
Oh, they are. And not, I'm talking more like the staring at each other and the hug. They're going to throw them right into that.
He's going to start mean mugging her.
He already is.
Exactly.
Now, here's my thing, because I was thinking, who else could she be paired with? Because I already put Tyson on the back burner. And I was like, even though I like the even keel of Grayson, I think Grayson too woke for her.
Yeah, Grayson would do better with her than he does with his partner.
Yes,
That's for sure.
that's for sure.
And she will definitely do better with Grayson than she does with Tyson. But that
Definitely.
doesn't necessarily mean they would be compatible.
Right.
But the other thing that Tyson was fuming about is that he felt like Stephanie did not have his back. Yeah, he felt like, whenever they've been spoken to at the dinner parties and he's been asked about his particular views on things, she's remained quiet. And he doesn't like that. So he feels like he can kind of put her down and chastise her or whatever, and then she's supposed to have his back regardless. And, like as a public showing, show a united front. But you're not united because you don't take her feelings into consideration any other time. So you just want her support just to make it look like you guys are on good footing, when really you're not, and you don't even like her anyway.
Don't even like her. Can't stand her. Yet, she's pushing back quite gently. She doesn't raise her voice or anything. So I don't
Nope.
know what is he looking for that she's exhibiting a whole bunch of masculine energy. I really don't. He just doesn't want anybody to challenge, as you said.
Yeah. And that's the thing. From what we've seen, she hasn't come strong. Like she hasn't, berated him or anything. And she hasn't even quit on the relationship. Even after he said he's prepared to leave the experiment now, she never said that. She actually was trying to say, listen, like, she gets the feeling that he is very traditional, and there may be other sides to him. But initially, you can see that he's a very much his way or the highway type of guy. It's like he's very petulant. Like he'll throw toys at the pram and rather cut it all off than adapt and start to warm up to her.
Right. You're right, because he just is, as you said, throwing toys. He already separated himself on the wedding, slept elsewhere, and they're back, not wedding, at the honeymoon. Now they're back and they're still kind of living separately. So the experts this week just asked them to be curious, while Stephanie says she's attracted to him aesthetically. He is pleasing to the eye, but his personality is a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
This is how an attractive guy can become very unattractive to ladies, when their personality, views, and how they communicate can really throw a woman off.
Mm.
Anything else about Stephanie and Tyson?
I don't see much hope for them going forward, even though they're a new couple and they weren't allowed to pick stay or leave. I don't think he is someone that is going to change within a week. So it's really going to be down to how confrontational they get. And, if he has checked out, then I think he's going to have a short tolerance, short patience for anything. So it's going to be a tough week for both of them, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. And this is a photo of them on the couch talking to the experts, trying to understand what they can do better. But they did not get the option to stay or leave. They're both in it. Okay. They're both in it to win it, I guess. Okay. Next up, I got to go through all these media assets. Next up, the way the commitment ceremony went up was one of our favorite couples. One of our favorite couples, okay, that is causing no drama. Philip and Stella. Philip and Stella. Now, this week, Philip and Stella, everybody's doing 1 month anniversaries. And y'all remember, we talked about how the US and Australia and UK versions are different. Well, Australia, for the first time, taking, note from the US version of Mafs, Australia has decided to have them celebrate 1 month anniversaries. We do that in Mafs in the US all the time. I didn't even realize Australia didn't do 1 month. So definitely what they had was the couples decide how they were going to celebrate. Now, apparently Philip got her a gift, Let me put their picture up because their picture shows us the gift that he bought her. He bought her a necklace. And it also tell y'all what they said, but because they are the least problematic, we know. So the necklace she's wearing, he got her that. They are talking about their plans after the experiment. She says she has deeper and deeper feelings for him. He feels at home with her. And as I showed you there, they both chose to stay in the experiment. And I have some tea about them after the experiment if we wish to talk about that. But JR, what did you think about Stella and Philip this week?
Yep, I think we should talk about that, T, because I'm interested to know. I think this couple have hit it off straight away. They've survived the tough time of the Mean Girls Club coming after Stella, and I think that was done out of jealousy, due to the chemistry that her and Philip have. I think the black tourmaline necklace that Philip purchased for her is a nice touch. They've passed every challenge so far. Intimacy week went well. The ups and downs due to the squabbling with the other brides, that's gone well. He supported her when necessary, and she's fought her own battles as well, telling him, you know what, take a seat, let me just handle this. And yeah, their connection's grown, and they have cultural similarities as we've spoken about before. They seem to have the same views on how they want to conduct the relationship. So yeah, I feel like this couple is it's up there for me. They're like top two couple in the show for me. Always have been very consistent and showing love to each other, man. So I like this match.
Yeah, they're a great match. They are stride to stride. The hot tea is that they are still together.
Okay, cool.
They are still together. And the tea on the street, the word on the curb is that they are now actually engaged to be married.
Nice.
So at least one couple we know stride for stride.
Success. Congratulations to them.
Exactly. And this is coming from Australia's social media. Folks have caught them on the street. They don't care. They ain't posting about it, but they are walking hand in hand, hugged up, and definitely, living a wonderful life together. So y'all, we do give y'all a little tea around here. Sip, sip.
Yeah, and they're a testament that, some of these couples ain't toxic, and they're looking to find a match and make it work. It can happen.
It definitely can happen. Now, next up, sorry to say, but next up is Mel and Luke. So this week, again, Mel talks about how she has not developed any feelings for Luke. Okay. Luke says, I don't think Mel has tried. She hasn't put much effort at all in the relationship, but she says she's not getting any romantic feelings. But here's what she needs from a man. She needs somebody who's empathetic, who listens to her, who hears her, who makes her feel that they can take the weight of burdens off of her shoulders. And expert John had to be like, you just described Luke. She's like, yeah, on paper, but why am I not having any feelings for him? And expert said, you haven't given him a chance. Talk about it. Talk about Luke and Mel.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. You haven't, sorry, I'm talking to Mel here. Mel, you haven't developed any feelings for him because, like John said, he was late to the wedding. He chewed gum at the altar, and you haven't forgiven him for that. Even 3 weeks in, we're now on week 4, you have distanced yourself from him. And it since the start, only up until last week, you attempted to try and get closer, and then you found out that there's only friend vibes from your side. So Luke has been trying the whole time. He has been trying to listen to her. He has been trying to give her space. He hasn't pressured her. He hasn't lost his cool and flipped on her. He's literally just been just hoping and waiting that something will change, like a spark will happen between them. Unfortunately, the relationship has now run its course. He feels like he's given her enough time, and she has reached to the conclusion that It's been so long since they've been together, like 3 or 4 weeks, and nothing is growing in a positive direction. So it's time to call it quits. My thing with Mel is that she's not self-aware. If she has given the experts an idea of what she's looking for, and then Luke is the guy that she's matched with, and she can't see the same qualities that she's asked for in Luke, despite him displaying that as far as the experts and everybody else is concerned, then it's a her problem. She just isn't attracted to him. And, you're not going to like everybody. That's fair enough. But she has been cold and been distant, and it's been very pretentious. You can see she's faking everything. Barely smiles. And the telling thing is that when she gets around the other couples, her energy is different than when she's with Luke. And Luke saw that, and that dejected him even further, because he's like, wow, you're so live. Well, she's not lively, but you're more talkative with everybody else. But when it comes to me, you don't want to talk to me or spend time with me. So yeah, unfortunately, it's the end of the road for them. Like Boys to Men said, it's the end of the road, and I'm not going to sing it.
So yeah, is that a throw at me because I sing some notes on Fridays and my unscripted?
Yeah, you can sing it, or we can call Sean, and Sean can hit up with one of his songs.
He can hit up the lyrics.
Yeah,
Sean
he
can
hit up the
hit up
lyrics. Exactly.
Now, I did show the photo. They both did choose to leave. He's like, he tired, he's exhausted, he's done trying. And folks figure she ain't even started trying. Now I did see that comment, Munira. I saw that people said he just came here for more exposure because he wanted to be on Farmer Wants a Wife, and he was just playing sad. That's just a word on the curb. I've seen his interview. He has an interview with one of the local content creators out there in Australia, and he seemed pretty genuine. He seemed pretty on par. Now, Mel did say maybe we could be friends after this, and she has never called him.
Yeah.
Never returned his call. So
No,
I'm thinking she was lying.
she was lying, and that's the thing. I think there are some viewers. You can watch the same thing, and everybody comes to a different conclusion, right? You can see Mel blatantly pushing them away for 3 to 4 weeks, not being warm, not opening up at all. But then you can completely close your eyes to that and then focus on Luke. When Luke's been the one Luke was the only one trying in the relationship. Mel was trying to get away and distance herself and not open up. And Luke was trying to have conversation, communication, see where it leads to, and this, that, the other. But yeah, I don't think he was auditioning for Farmer Wants a Wife. He would have applied to Farmer Wants a Wife and probably got on there. Whatever that show is.
They said he did apply, but whatever reason he wasn't chosen. But he wasn't really. He isn't farmer. Okay,
Exactly.
He's in the city. He has a farm. His family has a farm, but he's in the city.
Yeah, listen, he would have got on there if he applied himself and wanted to go on that show. I think personally, whether he goes on Farmer Wants a Wife or he comes on this show, he's still looking for a wife. Yes. And the person that he was matched with wasn't feeling him. That's not his fault. She didn't want to open up over the chewing of the gum and the late at the thing at the wedding. So what that proves is that Mel is willing to hold a grudge for 3 to 4 weeks. It doesn't matter what he done. She was not going to forgive him for those moments. And in her interview with the same social media team, she said, she felt embarrassed at the wedding day, and that's all she could think about for a while. The fact that she was embarrassed in front of her friends and family when he arrived late. She understands that it wasn't completely his fault, but at the same time, she can't forget about it. She can't get that out of her mind. So she punished him by not getting close to him.
Exactly. She did. She did punish him. Well, that is Luke and Mel. As I said, y'all, they both put leave on their cards. Okay, let me pull that up again so y'all could see they both chose to leave. That means they have left the experiment like the other couples before. So they will not be here for the next week. Okay. So next up, as they put it, next up is haha, another couple I like, Alyssa and David. Now, again, this week they had 1 month anniversary. David said they're falling for each other, but David, I'm sorry, my brother. You sounded scripted. I'm sorry. You sounded a little scripted. But hey, she says she understands why they are matched. Y'all, they do have some kind of familiarity. I think they look like a couple that's been together for quite a bit of time and they're very comfortable with each other. But the experts ask, why is everybody coming after you as a couple? And Beck is asked, why did you come after them? Again, y'all, last dinner party, Beck was in everybody's business. So we will get to it when we get to Beck and Danny. She was lighting fires in every relationship. And Gia said that the only way she was coming at Alyssa was because Beck was feeding her bad information about Alyssa because she knew of Alyssa back where they're from, Adelaide. So, why is Beck trying to bring this relationship down? Hey, Beck says, I don't want to be the only one called out. Gia was doing it too, but she doesn't have an answer as to why she's coming after Alyssa. But Grayson said, Beck, you don't sound too happy for them. But Grayson had a few little chimes in and different people that I was appreciating. But they don't understand. Nobody understands why Beck is coming after this couple and coming after Alyssa constantly. And, why is Gia bringing up receipts at the table with her phone to come at Alyssa? I don't understand what's going on. What did you think about the lovely picnic that these two had right there by the bridge for their 1 month? And why is everybody coming after them?
The picnic was cool, very romantic, very cute. I mean, this couple have grown every week. Every episode they seem to be enjoying being together, enjoying getting to know each other. I think there's a lot of jealousy from Gia and Beck with regards to Alyssa, and that's why they attack the relationship. I don't think it's so much to do with David, because they haven't actually said anything about David for me to get that impression. But what their comments and back talk seems to be about is how much they dislike Alyssa for being fake. Now, I think they're both hating on that relationship because Alyssa's so happy. And they can't believe that she's so happy so quickly with the guy that they've paired her with. But they, like I said, they don't actually mention David. It's all focused on Alyssa. It's also, I think, her looks. She's always smiling and cheerful, her energy. I think they really don't like it. And if you compare her energy and her appearance to Beck and Gia, Gia seems to have this like rest in bee face, like a very pompous attitude. And Beck,
Scowling.
yeah, well, Beck is the scowling one. Beck is the one that will, she says things that are very mean-spirited, very malicious, and it's all designed to sap your energy and just ruin your moment. So I'm glad that Beck got called out for it, all the way out for it. It was a cop-out for her to say she doesn't understand why she's been hazing Alyssa the way she has. She couldn't answer it. She was asked multiple times by John why, and she can't she couldn't even explain it. So she just hating. And I like the fact that David has supported Alyssa. He also said, listen, he doesn't like going to these dinner parties because when the dinner party's over, he's the one that has to pick up the pieces. He's the one that has to console her. And it's over stuff that he hasn't done. So I commend both of them for showing the resilience, getting through all the attacks that particularly Alyssa has faced from the other ladies. And I like this couple. Again, I put them in the top two. probably the most consistent couple so far for me.
You were very gentle. Okay. David wasn't so gentle, JR. He said, I hate that I have to pick up the pieces after my wife, after these dinner parties, because of how y'all grown ladies don't know how to act. I said, daggone, you better tell him, David.
He did say that.
You're grown and you don't know how to act.
He did say that.
I was like, David coming through for his wife. And he's always supportive, always there with her. And they have, gone after those challenges. But as you said, he's not doing anything to bring his wife's mood down, her behavior down, her attitude down. But he's got to console her after these ladies want to come at her. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. So it seems like their plan is to now just kind of not isolate themselves, but, just focus on their relationship as they always have and not get involved in the other people's shenanigans. Because every time they're in a group setting, it seems like there's more tea or there's more messages or, And she also said, listen, I don't know Beck. Because Beck's been talking her name as if, I've seen her around Adelaide, so I know about her. Said, no, I don't know you. I've met you twice through friends, but I don't know you. You don't know me. So again, just putting Beck on blast for being a hater. So I'm glad that this is all happening rather than Beck creating a narrative and further causing damage to the relationship.
Right. Because expert John said, Beck, you need to answer why you are doing this. You need to get to the root of why are you putting a target on Alyssa's back. And Gia, you also need to realize when you come in at Beck and you bringing up receipts, you're dragging Alyssa into y'all foolishness. So that's the one time that I saw the experts hold them both to account, because Brooke is gone. She snuck out the back door. So this whole, bickering between Beck and Gia is going to come to a head. But anything else about Alyssa and David?
Yeah, Gia also was the one to try and mention Brooke's name, as if but Brooke's not here. Brooke got turfed. So when Gia tried to mention Brooke's name, it was to completely try and throw Brooke under the bus as well, to try and say, oh, it's not just me, it was Brooke that told me. And they said, no. You didn't have to engage in the shenanigans. You and Brooke were like this. You were frickin' frack, as they say.
We gonna get to there because the experts are missing key details. But anything else for Alyssa and David?
No, we're good.
Okay. Next up, what they oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Did I show that they both? Y'all, it's just too many things that I got to keep up with. I want y'all to be able to see, even though you can't see the show. I want y'all to see what they said. They both they both wrote stay, and they are staying for another week. Look at how gorgeous Alyssa is. Okay. Now, David, at first, when I saw your sweater, I was a little bit perturbed, but it grew on me. It grew on me by the time throughout the most of the show. I was like, okay, David, I can see why you wore that kind of Argyle kind of zip down, it grew on me. But no, they're strong together. They do like each other. They just don't like what is being said and done at the dinner parties. Okay.
They don't like the drama. They're not here for that.
They are not here for the drama at all. Munira, we're going to talk about that when it is we're talking about Beck, because there's tea on the curb as to what all the shenanigans Beck was up to during this entire season. So next up on the couch, let me go get my media assets. Next up on the couch, they were talking to Julia and Grayson. Now this week, Julia decides to write Grayson another letter. And this is the 1 month anniversary. And again, she's not following with the romantic overturns that they wanted to do. So Julia does admit that they tried to kiss more. She thought the romantic side would flourish, but it's not. And she wrote him a letter that says this is not a soul connection that she's looking for. And she moved out. Grayson feels the energy and emotions have all gone to waste. She's not emotionally or physically present with him. Now she feels that, when he tells her what he needs, it's not very inviting to her. Girl, excuse me, Julia? Are you okay? Grayson says she's all words and she listens to respond. He cannot talk to her. There's no clarity, no certainty in how she talks. It's all vague. And Julia said, no, 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 my communication is nuanced. It's not vague, it's nuanced. I don't feel seen or heard. And I was like, excuse me? All we've been seeing is you, Julia, and hearing you. What were your thoughts on Grayson and Julia this week? Because I was tired, like Grayson.
Yeah, I can see why Grayson's fed up with it, because she speaks in this airy, fairy, fluffy language, but doesn't actually say anything at the end of it. It's like all these descriptive words. Yes, and the fantastic way that we communicate needs to be authentic, and then like at the end of the sentence, there's actually no action that follows. It's like he's probably sitting there like, I still don't get what you said. Like, so their connection hasn't grown. They had one kiss, and then they went away last week and they went back and they had another kiss, and then that's when she said, nah, there's nothing. And so she decided to pen that letter to him. And I think he was genuinely shocked at how soon she gave up and she quit. And I can see why John asked him if he felt rejected. Like you could see he's rejected, he's hurt, and he didn't want to say it was a waste of time, but he's like, it's a waste of vulnerability and the feelings and everything that he was putting in. So I thought he was very generous with that. But yeah, I think the comment was right. At the dinner table, she would have preferred to be paired with a woman. I think she would, she's used to dating women a lot more, and her style of communication, she would be able to verbalize it and also receive what a woman's saying. I think Grayson would have been a nice change for her. There's nothing particularly wrong with him aesthetically or in the way that he communicates. He was very gracious, gave her enough time to be herself. He never put pressure on her once again, but it was just one-sided. I think he was optimistic and she was checking out.
Right. He said he felt shattered and exhausted. He tears up, says he feels helpless. He wanted love so bad. Now, Julia did say she appreciates him. Okay. The expert said love is not far for you, Grayson, but y'all, we do have an immediate asset, what they chose to do. Okay. And what they chose to do this week, they both chose to write leave.
Leave. Gone.
Now, how does she not feel seen in this getup? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think she does the most to be seen, actually. I
Look at his face. Look at Grayson's face.
He's not happy. He's not happy.
Y'all, this photo is as they have just sat down. They just sat down. This is not the holding up the sign. I just put a picture of the sign, but they just sat down.
Yeah, he looks like he's dreading talking about their relationship because he knows it's not positive. But ultimately, they both made the right decision, because staying for another week is not going to repair anything. She's checked out. He's exhausted. And like you said, it's probably rightfully so. Like, I would be exhausted. I'm trying. And she's not giving me anything back. She doesn't want to have fun, relax, enjoy the relationship. What are we here for? All these endless soliloquies and poems that she's talking. Yeah, they sound great, airy fairy, but there's absolutely nothing behind them driving the relationship forward.
And there's something that a word Julia uses that kind of triggers me a little bit. Triggers me. She says he wants me to talk very binary. Now, considering that Julia is a bisexual woman, and she's very careful with her words, binary means something in the LGBTQ plus community. And when she uses that word binary, I think she's putting a little 10 on 20, maybe how Grayson views her or how she views how he behaves as black or white. Again, for me, it's just her choice of words that trigger me into thinking that she's saying more than just the word on its surface.
I tell you what, I think she would have been better matched with Joel. Is it Joel? The flamboyant guy, the new
Oh,
guy.
yes.
Yes. Now
Yeah,
I
but you
think
won't be heard and seen. He would be heard and seen.
he would be yes, he would. But also I think he's got that kind of zesty vibe that
Yes.
that non-binary behavior where you think, is this guy like you don't know if he's flipping or flopping, like you don't know.
Love
But
it.
but I think that would be something that she would be willing to explore. But a conventional guy like Grayson, she finds him boring, deadpan. She's not interested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
salt of the earth kind of
yeah,
guy.
yeah. So
I think he's a
like
chill
I said,
guy. He's
yeah,
chill.
he's chill, and I just don't think she sees it for them. And again, similar to Mel, she just reached that point where she just like, nah, there's no point dragging it out. It's not going to
Right.
change.
Right. Okay, so they have road leave again, y'all. If we keep in score, we have Julia and Grayson have both said leave. So they are not going to be here next week. We already had
Nope.
Mel and Luke say leave. So there are two couples that have said leave. Okay.
Mhm.
Next up is one of our newest couples, one that the people did not know was coming. They did not know that these two guys were on their way or even had a wedding ceremony, which only 6 people were guests. And it was very intimate wedding. I liked it, y'all. Okay. So we have Chris and Sam, y'all. Chris and Sam, not our Sam in the comments. Hey, Sam. But Chris and Sam, both of them own gyms in Sydney or another part of Australia. I'm sorry. But let me show you all pictures from their wedding. Let me show you those. Let me get the comments off the screen. These were photos, a couple photos from their wedding. Now Sam is the gentleman in the black tuxedo. Okay. And you could see Chris is in the tan suit. Now, here's the thing. Chris has 2 kids on the way. He is the donor dad. That's what he calls himself in the show. He is a donor dad for a lesbian couple that are his friends. He also has a child via surrogate coming up. Now, the donor dad kid is coming in a few months. His surrogate has a few more months to cook. And he decides he's not telling Sam right away. Okay, he's going to keep that under wraps until he knows whether he and Sam are compatible. He's not going to share that he has kids on the way. Now, they both like the outdoors. Chris actually owns a farm. This is like his 3rd farm he's owned. And Chris is, and I didn't put their ages, Chris is 38, while Sam is 35 or 32. And this is the first older man that Sam has dated. He's always the oldest in his relationships, which I find it very interesting. How is that dynamic? How is that dynamic going to work? But these 2 guys, they are here. They are, again, we're not making any decisions this week. So they're on the couch to get advice from the experts. That's them sitting there on the couch talking very well to each other. They've decided to be waiting on intimacy and just get to know each other a little bit more. So these 2 seem to be chill. I just need you to be talking to me. I need you to be talking to me about these kids. Why are we hiding these kids? JR, do you want anything to add to this couple?
I mean, the glaring and most obvious thing is the kids. When he breaks that news, depending on how long he takes to break that news, that could end very badly because it's something that you haven't disclosed. You've allowed the person to possibly grow feelings and grow interested in you, and you haven't revealed your full self. And then, your relationship is going to be very complicated with the surrogate and all these other different parties involved, all these different stakeholders. And is your partner going to be comfortable with these two children that you got coming up? Because even though you may not have custody of them or whatever your arrangement's going to be, it's still going to affect the relationship. So that's going to be one hell of a hurdle to overcome. And yeah, we just have to wait and see when that news is broken to see how it's handled.
Right. And y'all, Chris did tell Sam he has some news to share with him. He's just not comfortable sharing it now. So Sam knows something is coming. He don't know what it is, but I don't like that Chris is kind of leading him with breadcrumbs and kind of saying, well, how do you feel about kids? How do you feel about family? And Sam led us into like, he wants kids, but not right now. And I'm like, you're setting him up for failure, Chris. I don't like this. Don't talk about it at all.
Well, he has to kind of gauge it, because hearing that he wants kids but not right now, well, you got some kids about to soon come, so you may not be compatible then. And that's the time to really have told him. You can't ask him that and then go off and tiptoe through the tulips again. And then what, as the birth dates get closer, that how you going to drop that to him? It's going to land like he's going to be hit with a ton of bricks. So I think that there has to be that conversation. I think it should have come around the time when you asked him about kids, and I really think it's quite selfish to hold something back like that, because you're getting married, you have to be aligned on certain things, and you're inviting different people into the relationship that he had no say over. He had no control over, because you've entered these arrangements prior to coming into the show.
Right.
So
you're correct. And I love how you said tiptoe through the tulips. I'm gonna have to create that one. I'm gonna have to create a meme with that. Y'all, that is Chris and Sam. Again, as you know, UK and Australia version, we do have same-sex couples. And UK, we usually have two ladies and gents. This time in Australia, we just have the gents. So yes, this is a little departure from how the US version is handled. And because the US is legal marriages, all that other stuff, there are different nuances for that. I don't know if we're ready for this. But definitely that was Chris and Sam. Of course, there's no decision to be made because they are a new couple for this week. Now, next up on the couch, Rachel and Steven. Rachel and Steven, they wanted to go fishing, but they couldn't for their anniversary. So they bought this fishing game. I wondered what they were doing, but it was a fishing game. You just, like Hungry Hippos kind of thing, y'all. It was a fishing game. She wanted to show him that he was special. He bought her flowers, candles, wine, and he even cooked dinner. He said he's not a cook, but he acted like he was a chef and a sommelier with having, the napkin over his arm, and he was serving his wife. I don't know. I ain't trusting the whole Rachel and Steven thing. But what were your thoughts on Rachel and Steven this week?
I can see why you're not trusting it, because I think they like each other, but I still think they're both too awkward. They both have these quirks that kind of stop them from looking close. And I think it's actually Steven that has the bigger issue. I think Steven has not had a relationship for a long time. And although he's warming up to the idea of finally having someone, I think he's just got these awkward tendencies that just prevent him from going all the way in. He's quite an awkward dude when you hear his confessionals and you see how he's interacting. And Rachel, I think, wants that love story. She wants that passion. She wants to feel wanted. She wants that, she wants all the good things. But Steven is so inside his head and so out of practice that he's afraid to disappoint.
Yes.
And we saw that in the challenge, the intimacy challenge. But I think that's like, I think that intimacy challenge actually highlighted the major issue. And I think he does little micro versions of it where
Yeah.
he's just not confident in so many different things. And he kind of tries to laugh and joke his way out of it or cuddle her out of it, like in a way. But yeah, I just think, it's really going to be down to how patient Rachel is with him opening up and actually getting fully relaxed into the relationship. And
Is it
Stephen,
crippling performance anxiety?
yeah, it is, it is, it is. When they hit the sack, that's when the anxiety is really going to kick in because that's when the pressure going to be to perform. And if he ain't had no practice in a long time, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I think he's happy to prolong that part because then the performance anxiety doesn't kick in, then he can't disappoint. So the longer they kick that into the long grass, he's cool. But when she eventually says, okay, well, we tried the blindfold kissing task, now it's trying to turn the lights red and hit the sack, come and share the bed, I think he's going to be a bag of nerves.
I think
So,
that's what he don't wanna get to. I think he don't wanna get to the bedroom, so he gonna do very little.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like, he needs to relax and maybe let her take control in the bedroom and show him the ways and snap that out of him. Because if you put the pressure on him to, he couldn't even kiss her with a wide open invitation. Couldn't even do that. So if he gets the invite to do more, he's gonna completely break down. He's gonna freak out, crash out.
Well, he didn't crash out this week, y'all. They both wrote stay, okay?
Mhm.
They both wrote stay. They both decided to continue in the process. They like where they are, but I just don't see more than one step forward and maybe a couple of steps back with these two, but they both chose to stay with an exclamation mark.
I will say that they do look like they're beginning to get each other's sense of humor, mannerisms. Compared to when they first met, and he made jokes and stuff that didn't land. I think the more time they do spend together, the more they're understanding each other, and there is some level of gelling there. But I just think Rachel wants more passion, more intimacy, more. She wants more desire than what he's offering, and I don't think he's going to be able to deliver.
Right, and she's so open to him. She accepts him as he is. And though I don't think it would may have worked, but I think I don't think it would have worked, but Rachel and Grayson, I can see Grayson more being the type of person to allow her to be who she is. I don't know if there will be attraction between those two people, but I could see both of them just looking for someone to accept them for who they are and just they want to love on someone. So, the personality types of Rachel and Grayson I think are complementary.
Same here. I think Rachel and Grayson could have been a better match. I also think. What's his name with Mel?
Luke?
Uh, Luke. I think Luke would have not maybe aesthetically, but I think he has that patience,
Yes.
and he would make an effort to try and make a relationship work if they were matched together.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that. Okay, that was Rachel and Steven, y'all. Now next up, it's one of the fiery couples. Okay. Next up is Gia and
Yeah.
Scott. Now, Scott comes up to the couch saying it's all sunshine and rainbows, y'all. We got matching tattoos, heart shaped with the number 13 on the inside. They both got it on their ankle. Okay. They've been talking deep talk, he says. And she says she brought up the receipts, about Alyssa only because Beck was coming at her. And it's kind of like high school. And I'm like, but you were attacking folks last week. So what was last week about when you're hooking up with Brooke? But, Beck says, imagine how, you hurt me last week, causing my relationship to almost end. And Gia's like, that was Brooke. That was Brooke. But you told Brooke, is what Beck is saying. You told Brooke, and Brooke was able to say something. Now Scott is like, okay, everyone, we need to focus on our own relationships. That's what we need to do. And Gia said, I'm done with that stuff. But here's the thing. This week, here's the thing the experts didn't address, we didn't hear, we didn't see. And I was pissed. One of the new couples, y'all, Joel and Juliet, at their wedding, Scott and Gia showed their entire God-given or doctor-operated on behinds. I don't know which one it is. But they showed the entire behinds, calling into question Joel, yelling out across the reception at him, saying Joel's a model. Oh, what can he possibly model? This is Scott. What can he possibly remodel? You think he's a model? No. He's not a model. All he models is probably toilet cleaner. They were at that man from the minute they saw him at the altar at his own wedding. Many people who were there are looking at Gia and Scott, and no one pulled them up. None of the experts pulled them up on how they treated and acted with Joel, but Joel had the comeback for them. When they're like, well, be honest. Did you ask the experts for this girl that's your bride sitting right here that you just met? Be honest and be detailed. Joel is like, yes, I asked for this. And you know what? I think she's beautiful. And this is what I asked for, someone who does not have plastic in their face. Joel was hitting back. When we get to them, we're going to talk about Joel knows how to hit back, yet still compliment his wife. Scott and Gia acted absolutely disgusting at their wedding. What were your thoughts on Gia and Scott this week?
I'm not surprised at their behavior. Gia is horrible. I think she has a lot of insecurities about herself, and she projects that into situations. And she also dislikes anybody who's happier than her. She's very fake. She's willing to throw Brooke under the bus despite riding for her and saying, oh, we're girls, and we're besties and this, that, the other, torching other people's relationships. She was willing to do that. Then when Brooke's gone, she fake buddied up with Beck, even though she doesn't even like Beck. But she's like, okay, well, my enemy is now my friend because we have a common enemy. And then discards Beck as soon as Brooke comes back. And then, just starts torching Joel's relationship, starts still continuing to talk bad about Alyssa, back on bad terms with Beck again, showing the receipts at the dinner table, disclosing their private messages. And Scott said something very interesting. He said, I don't see the same Gia, when she's going at everybody else. I don't see that same version of her when I'm with her. It's almost as if he's an enabler. It's like he blinds himself to her bad behavior. Even though he knows it's bad, he's going to stick with her no matter what. And there's something about Scott. I know he's successful. I know he's got multiple businesses, but there's something about him that makes me feel like he's not as intelligent as we may expect him to be.
Oh, because, I see it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he just doesn't, why would you want to keep getting involved in other people's stuff? You're getting dragged into it because G is always getting herself into these situations. And as someone who's got so much going on for yourself, Scott, why are you allowing yourself to be dragged into all this other insignificant stuff? But in terms of their compatibility and their relationship, they're actually quite solid. The tattoos indicate that they're solid. 1 month anniversary, they got the tattoos or whatever. All right, I'm trying to give them some grace here, right? He's accepted the daughter and all that stuff. He likes the Barbie look, right? And I think one of the things that G has been doing, and I don't know if you've noticed this, she got pissed when Joel said he doesn't like plastic in his ladies. Why do you care, Gia? He's not your husband. Joel's preference is his preference. It's nothing to do with you. So for you to make outbursts at his wedding because you felt offended that he doesn't like plastic brides, you've already got your man. Joel doesn't have to like you.
And we find out that Scott puts Botox in his face.
So they have that in common. Because I guarantee you there's other things that sound like Botox that Scott's doing with Gia too. But listen, at the end of the day, I feel like Gia has also been stirring the pot with Beck's husband too, because she wants to be the center of it. She wants to be the girl that is desired by all the guys.
Yes.
And she doesn't like the fact that there are some guys in the group that are not her husband that don't even like her like that.
Don't even look at her or give her the time of day.
Exactly. So she's like, well, why did I spend all this money for? I augmented everything to try and be the center of attention and to be every guy's fantasy. Well, Gia, you're not. As long as you're Scott's fantasy, that's all that should matter, not the other grooms. So you're making a big deal out of how everybody else perceives you. Just focus on Scott and stop getting involved in other people's relationships.
He was giving the trope of dumb jock. When she was going at Joel and they were at the confessional after the wedding and talking, and he's like, ho. You know, when she would say something, you know, like, oh, what is he model? He wants toilet cleaner. But then when the experts asked him, what does he feel when Gia is behaving like this? He said, she defends herself when it's necessary, when there's need to. And there's just too many good things for him to focus or bother about her attitude. And I'm like, excuse me? Do you know that attitude is going to turn on you?
Exactly. He tried to paint the picture as if she's constantly on the defensive, when in actual fact, she's constantly been on the attack. She doesn't stop chiming in and making smart comments, right? So, yeah, he needs to be mindful that when he steps out of line or he does something wrong or he makes a mistake, that's the same heat that you're going to get, bro. Probably even worse, because she's got feelings for you. So that animosity is going to be amplified.
Yes, but what is not amplified is any animosity between them right now. They both do stay. They both decide to stay. This is how they were on the couch. They both this week decided to put the heart 13. That's kind of like an homage to their tattoos. And also, I think they're just trying to be like the fake perfect couple, because I think they both decided or talked about putting the heart 13 on their thing and then make it look like they're surprised that they both did it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They probably tried to do the same thing with the tattoos as well. Oh, wait, you got a tattoo? Wait, I got a matching tattoo. Oh, twinning. Come on.
So somebody said in the comments that Scott may be scared of Gia, just like Danny's afraid of Beck.
Yes, that is true. But I think he's less fearful, but he is fearful. He knows that when she goes off, she's gonna go nuts.
She just might. She just might. Now, next up is the last of our new couples. Okay, we have two couples to go over, but this one is the last of the new couples. This is the third couple. This is Juliet and Joel. Okay, now look at that handsome face. How you gonna tell me that this man wasn't GQing it up? Let me get y'all pictures from their wedding. This was their wedding. Let me take the comments down. These are pictures from their wedding. They were kissy at the wedding day. On the top left is at the wedding, top right is at their reception, and at the bottom was at the reception. They look very, very happy, very much. And Joel is my new favorite zinger because Joel comes back with the heat. Let me just show y'all at the same time. This is what they look like on the confessional couch. Oh, I need to remove this. This is how they looked on the confessional couch after the honeymoon. This is before they've moved in. This is their first commitment ceremony. Something has happened, y'all, and we ain't as happy as we were at the wedding. Now, here's what it is. They had a lovely wedding, okay? And if y'all see my post on this channel, LCID 932, I did put it. Joel was out there. He's flamboyant. He's loud. He's a lot. He does self-proclaim that he was a fat Uber driver, okay? That's what he calls himself. I'm not calling him that. But he also shows his photos. I also have that in my shorts of how Joel looked before and Joel now. He took time to get his body and he set his mind together. Now, Juliet tells us that she's out there too. I have not seen it. She says she's too much for a lot of people. Now, Joel does not do his laundry, y'all. His mama still does it. Okay. He's 30 something years old. Mama still does his laundry. He does sleep with his teddy, a nice little teddy bear. And he introduced her to the teddy bear right after the reception. And I'm thinking that's where the ick started. Because Juliet is telling us that, she don't feel the attraction. He felt very performative at his wedding and the reception, but afterwards, when they talked, she got to see a serious Joel. She says she thinks maybe the attraction will go someplace, but she's taking it day by day. He said it's only been 1 week. Attraction can grow, but he likes to be more warm and affectionate and touchy. And she's like, I'm a touchy person, but I don't feel like touching you. Yeah, they do talk about the dinner party. Okay, he said he has always been himself, and that has caused them to be a target on his back. And he came back at Beck at the dinner party saying, "Oh, you need this to be a center of attention, don't you, darling?" He really gave it to Beck at the dinner party when she kept coming at him saying, well, your mother said in her speech at the wedding that you still like to lay in her lap. Do you do that still? Is that for real? She was coming at Joel heavily at the dinner party. But the experts have not seen other people's behavior at their wedding, so I'm gonna leave that there. But he says people misjudge him. But Juliet says something very interesting. It's not just her perception of him. She needs to know everyone's perception of her husband has to be favorable for her. That to me is dangerous. What are your thoughts on Juliet and Joel?
Yeah. So Joel at the wedding, his vows were horrible. Man, what a load of self-centered, flamboyant fluff. Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe it. I actually thought he was going to say, I'm joking at certain points. But no, he was dead serious. He tried to steal all of the limelight and all the spotlight from his vows. He says he's unapologetically him. But I can see why this guy's a very Marmite person. Either you like him and you find him quite humorous, or you're going to dislike him because of how much attention he actually likes and brings on himself. It completely overshadowed Juliet. It made her look quite timid. He has a very strong personality. And that was my initial thoughts. Then going into after the vows were said and all of that, I did like the way he shut down all the hate from Gia and all the comments and things like that. I like that. And I know straight away that when I was watching it, I was thinking, you know what? If Seaway saw this guy, guess what Seaway would be saying? Sassy man apocalypse. Right? Because he's coming back with listen, if you come for him, he's gonna put you right back in your box and pack you away. All right. And the thing is, he's only doing it to the people that are starting on him. He's not someone that's going around instigating it with other people. He's not a chatty patty, taking information from one party and going and spreading it. No, it's if you directly come at him, boom, he's reactive. And so he did that with Gia at the wedding, but at the dinner party, oh man, Beck got flamed. And rightly so, because she was going at everybody. But when she decided to target him, you could tell she was completely taken aback by his quick responses. She didn't even know what to say. There were times where she was pausing and she was like, what can I say next? What can I say next? Oh, so can you tell me about... And he was like, okay, listen, all right, if it makes you feel better, next time I'll come and say hello to you then. You know, it really made her feel small. And I was like, wow, now I've got to clap for this guy because as flamboyant as he defends himself and he doesn't get crazy with it. He just makes sure, if you want to take it to the mud, I'm going to get in the mud as well. And then you're not going to like it.
Yeah, Manura, I do agree. Siwe would call him sassy, but this is the kind of sassy I agree. Siwe would like. She would like his clapbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was really mean spirited and coming at the ladies, yeah, she wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But because those mean girls were coming at him, and he had especially the way he said, "Yeah, I don't like my woman with plastic in her face." So I really like how my bride looks. That
Yeah.
riled Gia up from across the room when they
Mm-hmm.
were digging at him since his wedding, and he didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't
And
know.
also, I do think after the wedding, when they go back and he starts to spend time with Juliet, I think his personality is particularly repulsing her.
Yes.
Right. I think she's losing interest. She's losing attraction to him. Despite him showing a different side to what we saw at the wedding, he's actually tried to be more, open. And she did comment on the fact that he does have a different side to him, but she doesn't like the fact that it's going to take for everybody to see the softer side for them to understand who he really is, because that's not what he leads with. He leads with this very zesty, flamboyant, strong personality when he's actually quite a sweetheart when they're together. So yeah, and he genuinely seemed to be quite taken aback when she was explaining how she's not attracted to him in that way right now.
Yes.
His face was like, "What? Really? Wow."
I think it's the ick from the teddy bear. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he probably still brings the teddy bear to bed.
He said it.
Yeah.
He showed it. We saw him go to bed and the teddy was there in the separate bed.
Exactly. So unless she's into poly or wants to do the occasional threesome with teddy bear, that might be a little issue. She needs to tell him, look, you're a grown-ass man. You got grays. You're a gray-toned man sleeping with a teddy bear. What's wrong with you?
And he does model. Go ahead.
And let her be the teddy bear now. Go ahead.
He does modeling, y'all. He does, editorial. As you said, you see him here, and you see him. I'm gonna show y'all again. His pictures at the wedding. He looks like a distinguished gentleman that you would find in the magazines, selling those watches, selling the car. He is a distinguished gentleman. I don't understand why they would be like, he doesn't look handsome now. His personality is a lot, but I find him refreshing a lot. He's a lot. Tyson is a lot and it weighs heavy. Joel is a lot, but it's fun. It is always, exuberant. It is always happy. Here's my thing. I would like to see what Juliet saw, the serious Joel. Because while somebody is so exuberant, happy, happy, joy, joy, a lot like Joel, I wonder are you just as flamboyant when you're mad? Is there that much fire when you're mad as well? That would be my curiosity. Like, okay, I need to see how you handle both things. How would you handle it if Juliet washed Teddy in the spin cycle? I mean, come on now. And will mom allow a bride to now be the primary woman in his life? Because mama was cutting off chicken off of her own plate to give him.
And they tried to mock that as well. I think someone tried to mock something about him needing his back rubbed by his mom or something.
Beck did that at the dinner table, and Gia and Scott did it at the wedding.
Yeah. Listen, and he said, listen, it was a joke. Don't you know what a joke is? But no, it's probably true. She probably does do it.
But I don't think it's the way we mean it, because we saw him before the wedding meditating with his mother, and I'm thinking it may be the meditation stuff. Some people can't see it weird. I'm gonna need to see if it is actually or a joke or otherwise. But he was laying on the couch, y'all, And his mother was standing behind the couch and she was rubbing his temples and they were humming and meditating to relax before the wedding.
So yeah, I mean, there's obviously something to examine there. But yeah, if he is a mama's boy, that could be a cause for contention, because obviously some mothers are very protective over their sons and they really want to be invested in who their son chooses to be with. Juliet, though, is losing interest anyway. So I'm not sure how they turn it around. I'm not sure if they do. Because I don't necessarily see Juliet warming to him enough at the moment. And I think she does kind of see him as pretentious. Like there's something about him that seems very performative. And it's hard to imagine him being like that 24/7.
Right. It is. Now, last but not least, okay, and we got to dissect them, y'all, piece by piece. Danny and Beck. Okay. Danny and Beck is the last couple on the couch, y'all. This week they had a picnic in the living room, okay, for their anniversary, but that is not what we focused on. We focused on Beck's behavior, okay? Now, when they were talking to the experts, when asked, "How are y'all doing?" Beck said, "Stronger than ever." This is the look on their faces when she said, "Stronger than ever." That is Danny's looking at her like, "Really? We stronger than ever?" And that is Beck's face when she says, "Stronger than ever." Gia is looking like, "Really? Is that what we're saying?" The expert in the middle, that is their intimacy coach. She's like, "Wait a minute, that this don't look strong." Okay. And that's Joel talking to Grayson saying he's scared of her. Danny is scared of her. But this is the look on their face for stronger than ever. And y'all, here's the other one. This is the look on their face throughout the entire time on the couch. The entire time on the couch, these are the faces of Beck and Danny, and Gia on the bottom there when she had to yell out her piece. Do they look stronger than ever? Do they look happy as ever? This is not the sign of a couple, as the experts said, that are stronger than ever. But again, she cannot answer as to why she's coming at Alyssa, why she's coming at the other brides, and grooms. She can't say it, but the expert said it's because, dropping grenades in other people's relationship keeps you from dealing with what's happening in your own relationship. Hey, Quay, coming in late and seeing the faces. Yes, that was the faces. So my thing is, they're coming at Danny with all this talk. And those of you who were able to see week 1, I don't think the experts know what happened on their honeymoon. Somebody needs to get them that footage because Danny has seen this before. He has seen this before with her going at him for stuff. Okay? Going at him about stuff. So I don't think they're convincing. Okay? The expert says she's confused because Danny looks like he's flat. His personality is flat and he looks miserable. And he says, "I'm just tired." But it's hard to talk about his feelings. They're like, "How do you feel?" He's like, he's a little bit embarrassed, to be honest, by how she acted. But he said he wanted a ride or perish. So he gonna ride or perish for her. I don't believe you, Danny. I don't believe you, Beck. What were your thoughts about them, JR?
Well, Beck is unhinged. Beck has zero control over her mouth and also her emotions. And obviously, when she gets into her emotions, then it comes out of the mouth. And then it's usually coming with some malice and something spiteful on the end of it. She doesn't know when to keep quiet. And she also doesn't know that all she's doing is harming her relationship. Doesn't even think about it. Because similar to what we've said about David and Alyssa, like David has his girls back and he's there to pick up the pieces when she's feeling down, feeling tearful, and this, that, the other. The reason why Danny isn't there in that capacity for Beck is because she's gone at him too. She's blasted him out of there like very early on, kept projecting her insecurities and wearing him down. And then when that stopped working because he was shutting that down, then she turned to Alyssa and started going off on every single other relationship. At that dinner party, Beck was literally going, okay, well, I'm going to address you. Like, she was like, it's not even a counselor. She was just literally taking aim on everybody and their relationships. And the thing is, she's so opinionated, but she's so sensitive to criticism and she's so insecure herself. So why start on people when you're not going to like when they come back with anything that they have to say about you, right? And I can see why Danny's embarrassed, because how many words did Danny actually say at the dinner table other than I didn't say what Gia said I said? Nothing. And even when she said, come sit next to me, Danny, he sat next to her and then she started going off again and he quickly moved his drink and then turned and started distancing himself from her. You don't want to be associated with all that BS that you're doing, Beck. I'm sorry. And you've got no self-awareness. And then the telling thing, because we're going to obviously talk more about some of the shots that she took, but at the end of that dinner party, after she's blasted everybody, when the cameras go off and everyone's left, she goes, come and stand next to me, Danny. And he said, don't tell me what to do. And that's when it cut, right? Listen, he's fed up. He doesn't want to be involved in all these other situations. He doesn't like coming into these ceremonies and being around these other couples. And she's got so much to say about them. And it's usually just coming from a bad-spirited place. And she's the type of person, she throws the stones and she hides her hands. She lives in a glass house. So, you know, she's not even someone that you can go toe-to-toe with, really, because she's so sensitive. Danny does not want this type of lady in his marriage, you know, to be with long-term or anything like that.
Most men don't.
Exactly. Most men don't. I think Danny would be suited to someone like a Rachel or maybe even Mel, or, you know, someone with a personality that's not confrontational.
Steph, I can see Stephanie.
Stephanie. Yeah. Wait, Stephanie was with Grayson, right?
No, Stephanie's the new bride with Tyson.
Oh, yes. Stephanie with yeah, I think that could, maybe a little. But anyone but Beck.
Yes.
You know, anyone but Beck or Gia. I don't think he said what he said about Gia. I don't think that happened. I think she put him 2 on 10 because she dislikes Beck so much. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to make you insecure, play on your insecurities, and tell you that your man likes me more than he likes you.
Well, what I found interesting with Beck talked with the experts, okay? They said, how are you when you have to do confrontation? How are you? And, you know, is this your personality? Is this how you are? What if Danny says something wrong or makes a mistake? Is this how you act with him too? And Beck said, no, I'm the opposite. I actually retreat. And I'm like, I'm going to need y'all to roll the footage from that honeymoon. Please, somebody.
But what she means is, when she says she retreats, it means she gets up and she storms off, because she did that multiple times on the honeymoon. The moment, you know, they were sitting down and she was like, oh, so you're going to take another good look at that woman. And he's like, what are you talking about? I wasn't even who are you talking about? I'm not looking at the woman. This, that, the other. She goes, what, you think you're David Beckham? And this, that, and, you know, she storms off. She stormed off about 3 or 4 times on that honeymoon. She completely ruined it, right? The only thing that she was happy about was actually the Danaconda.
Right.
That was the only thing that made her happy. The moment she got that, it's like, oh, that was great. That was truth. That was wonderful. That was my goodness. And he
So
was laying there traumatized, like he said.
this tells me she hasn't had any Danaconda before this dinner party.
Yeah. But he wants to restrict the access on a Danaconda because she's going to get whipped. And once she becomes addicted to that, then that's going to be the only thing that can pacify her. And everything else in the relationship is bad. So you're not going to focus on these things that need improving because all she's going to want to do is go to bed to resolve all the issues. Because that's the time when she feels wanted and she feels
Yes.
needed in that moment. And they're vulnerable.
Beck says she's angry at Gia. Angry at him too, but don't want to argue with him because she's scared that he would leave. Now, hey, Danny said they've talked about this before. They they are confrontational, he removes himself from the situation, and that triggers Beck because she doesn't want to be abandoned. So the experts were getting on him like sound like she hasn't heard enough from you to put her mind at ease. I don't think they realize how much he would have to do to put her mind at ease.
Right. And I do think that, yeah, that is true. I also think that Beck is, if they saw the footage of the honeymoon, I think that would give them much more context into how her behavior actually has been towards him and everybody else as well. So far, they're just getting what she's doing to everybody else because they're seeing the dinner parties and all of that other stuff. But behind closed doors, how she handled, especially the first couple of weeks, yeah, they need to see that to get a wider context as to why Danny feels the way he does. I can see why he's dejected. I can see why he's disappointed. I can see why he's not attracted. But I also think he's being manipulated. I think
Yes.
her ability to quickly turn on the waterworks when she's being called out for something. I think her abandonment, talking about she fears being alone. I think those are the two main reasons why he's still there. You know, he doesn't
Definitely.
want to upset her. He wants to be considered a good guy, and he knows if he leaves her, then there's a chance that he won't be looked at as a good guy. So I think he's performative on that aspect. But I do think she manipulated him as well. And if you saw when they sat down on the couch, it was Joel that said he's afraid of her.
Yes.
And
in the bottom right, the photo in the bottom right, Joel, he's scared of her.
Yep, he's scared of her. And not only were they quick to pick that up, but Danny exhibits the behaviors that he is scared. He's scared to get. He doesn't like when she goes off on him, and he's scared to leave because of what it will do to her emotionally.
I mean, look at his face. Y'all, at the bottom left, she is crying and he is staring off into the distance. He doesn't offer a tissue. He doesn't
Nope.
even put his arm around her or touch her knee.
Nope.
Danny is like, to me, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he is done. And these are all her faces.
He needs to be done. He needs to be done. Don't put your arm around her. Don't console her. Because what you're doing is you're telling her, oh, it's going to be okay, babe. In a way, it's going to be enabling her to pour on the waterworks. Like, do the mean girl stuff. Then when the heat gets too hot, then turn on the waterworks and, oh, yeah, I'm going to hug you and console you. And don't worry, we'll get through it. No, tell her how it is. We're not going to work while you continue to be insecure, be verbally abusive to everybody, be unpleasant to be around and be with. It's not going to work. And I don't see Beck fixing herself up to correct that. And I think Danny needs to write leave. And Beck's probably going to write stay. And they're probably going to stick it out for another week or whatever. But if anyone's going to leave the relationship, it's going to be Danny. And Beck's going to be the one begging to try and keep it working because she doesn't want to be alone.
Okay, well, let's go to the couch. They both wrote stay. Because we're stronger together is what she put on hers. And he just wrote stay. I'm sorry, it looks like he has like 3 arms, but he he wrote stay as well. Okay.
If he really had free arms and free hands, he would have wrote stayed 3 times just to appease her and to satisfy her insecurity.
Yeah.
But it should have been leave. It should have been leave that Danny.
It should have been leave. Okay. Um, the experts do say they need to communicate better because she said she needs more reassurance. Okay. Gia did yell out saying, I can't hold this back. This is a fake ship, because she's saying that Beck talks to her differently off camera, that they are mean girls behind the scenes. Beck is sharing all the dirty tea she got, yet when she's in front of the camera, she can't stand Gia. Now, here's what's interesting about that, okay, y'all, this is some good tea. Sip, 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 sip. I forgot where did I put that? This is some good tea. Sip, sip. Thank you, actually, Aubrey, for putting that out there. Apparently, word on the street and word have come together that maybe Beck had a publicist while she was going through this process. That has been the rumor. That has been they have shown in Australia's Tattle magazines the photos of her with a very well-known publicist in Australia. And they're thinking that Beck did all of this, or they're alleging that Beck got, a whole bunch of advice from a publicist as to how to get more screen time, how to stay on the show longer, and what to do. That is the word on the curb in Australia about Beck.
Beck fired a publicist because they made you look even more stupid and made you look even more insecure on the show. The fact that you're as insecure as you are around everybody else, and you go after everybody else, and you hired a publicist, and you still did all of that, yeah, fired. In the bin. All right. Also, some other tea is the fact that her and Gia have been meeting outside the show as well. So how manufactured is their beef or their friendship? We don't know. They've muddied the waters. But I'm sorry, but Beck, you have made this whole show reach a level of contention and animosity, all thanks to your doing. It could have completely been avoided, but you're just not secure in yourself, and it manifests in just a vitriol against everybody. And what, we spoke about Brooke and how Brooke was going after Alyssa, but Brooke kept it somewhat contained to just the people she didn't like, which was just basically Alyssa and Stella. But Beck, you went after every single couple one by one. Yeah. So you and Beck are, you and Brooke are horrible, but you take the cake, because even after Brooke got chastised last week for her behavior, you came out and did this a week later with no Brooke present. You came out and did this by yourself. You decided to, you could see her, the cogs ticking, just swirling in her brain as to what to say maliciously to which couples. So that is a level of premeditation and haterism that she needed to get called out for. And she broke down in tears, hoping that the experts wouldn't go so hard on her now that she's crying. But I'm glad they held her feet to the fire for most of it. But, they switched their attention to Danny. And Danny's not perfect. But this, Beck's done so many things in this week. The experts needed to really drum it home to her. If you don't stop this type of behavior, you can't stay on the show no more. It's not fair to Danny. It's not fair to the other couples, and it's not fair to the viewers either.
Well, if Beck gotta go, Gia gotta go too. Okay.
Yeah, both of them out of there.
I just think that the experts aren't being given all the daggone footage because Gia's
Mm,
behavior at that wedding is on par with Beck, getting on everybody that night. But
yeah.
Beck promises no more grenades. She says she's done with the throwing the grenades in other people's relationships. But we gonna have to see because next week, y'all, is the friends and family visit. Apparently, well, over the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, friends and family are going to visit. The new couples are going to get their first assignments to be done because they're on the fast track. And Juliet apparently, okay, let me take Beck and let me take Beck's photo off of there while I'm talking about this. Oh, this is not all the couples, y'all, but bear with me. Um, Juliet got some shocking video footage about Joel from a friend of hers, and she wants to talk to Joel about what was seen. She was flabbergasted by what was seen on this video. So we need to know what it is too, Juliet. You could just send it to us, JRX TV on Instagram or mine as well. Okay. And apparently someone, and they're not being very specific, someone up and leaves the experiment completely. They just bounce. So I'd like to know who that is.
Hopefully it's Danny.
No, we got to make it to the retreat with Danny and Beck. Come on now.
No. Danny up and leave expeditiously, bro.
We need him at the retreat.
No, we don't. We don't need him or Beck at the retreat.
We
Home
need the
time.
drama.
Yeah, but not from them.
I think we need it, but you know what? I have always asked for the retreat to have extra drama. Go ahead.
It could be Tyson.
Interesting. It could be Tyson. It
Mhm.
could be Tyson. That is very, very interesting. So, y'all, so far, this week, we've had 2 additional couples leave. Remember, we have a lot of couples that started the experiment. These are the original couples. And I didn't pull down a new asset. But y'all, Rebecca and Steven left last week. Chris and Brooke left last week. And now this week we have Mel and Luke wrote leave, and they are leaving, and Julia and Grayson wrote leave, so they are leaving. So y'all see how easy it is that 4 couples are gone, yet 3 couples have entered the building. Okay? So next week we're going to have friends and family. We're going to find out what the scandal is about Jewel, what the video is. And I think it may be something with him overweight and acting out, unless he has some OnlyFans. But definitely
Yeah.
someone leaves the process. What are your wrap up thoughts for this week? What are you hoping for next week? And then tell the people where to find you.
Yeah, Friends and Family Week is gonna be crazy. I really think that Beck and Danny, Friends and Family, yikes. It's gonna go a bit nuts. It'd be interesting to see if Gia introduces her child to Scott, or is it just gonna be like parents? Because they've already met a lot of the friends and family at the weddings. So is it gonna be like a catch up, or are there gonna be new friends and family? But yeah, Tyson and his missus, I don't see that going well, and I don't think Danny should hang around either. With regards to the videotape for Joel, I think that could be, unfortunately, something crazy. So we'll have to wait and see what that's about.
Yeah, we definitely have to wait and see. And y'all, it is this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Sunday again is going to be basically another commitment. So tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday will be the friends and family. Wednesday will be another dinner party. We'll see if everybody on their act right. Okay. And then Sunday will be the commitment ceremony, is how they run, and that's how we bring it to you so you know what's coming up the following week. But I do appreciate you being here. Let the people know where to find you, JRX TV.
You can find me on JRX TV on IG and YouTube. Life is Reality. Check me out for reviews on Married at First Sight Australia with El Cid and a few other shows that are upcoming, and health and fitness content on my Instagram, and some motivational and inspirational posts every once in a while. So yeah, you can find me on there. Please like the video, and most importantly, subscribe and hit the notification bell for when we post next. Elsid's got a ton of shows that she's about to tell you about that she is reviewing. What's happening with you, Elsid?
There's a ton of shows. You're only doing one with me, but there's a ton of shows. So y'all, Love is Blind Ohio, right today at 5 p.m. EST, I have another panel right here. We're going to cover the last two episodes, 10 and 11, which was wild. Okay. And you know, I already put out a post, you know, Love is Blind Sweden is coming up in March. Yay. Y'all know we love Love is Blind Sweden. We love all the international Love is Blinds here. Okay. I'm also covering sci-fi. The folks have said, you know, they loved what we did for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I'm doing sci-fi. So we're going to start with Spartacus, the House of Asher on Tuesday. I'm going to cover the entire season. I watched all the episodes and I have a lot of thoughts. And then we're going to go into like Dune, you know, the Sisters of the Bene Gesserit, all that kind of sci-fi stuff. Apparently I love it, but folks want to hear my opinions, and we going to see. But we have Love is Blind seasons coming up. So check my post area, y'all. I keep everybody updated. Members get extra tea. And on Mondays is Messy Member Mondays, okay? And it's so messy, I had to create a parental advisory sign. Member Mondays is only 18 and above, okay? For the members. And this past Monday, I did act up, but it's usually the members that act up. But y'all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you again for another wonderful week, JRX TV. It has been fun. Members, I may have a little surprise for y'all later. Okay. So look out for the member post. May have a little surprise for y'all later if y'all are available a little bit later after my Love is Blind Ohio review. Okay. Thank y'all so much for listening. And as I always say, I'll see you on the next one.